What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today is the 10th. Today's 10/10. It is October 10th, 2023, 12:05 p.m. And we are back with episode 29 of Let's Talk Crypto. I am your host, Bitcoin J. And I am on my own today. The BTC Queen is still traveling. She's on the other side of the world, so we haven't been able to get our schedules to align. So I will be doing this one on my own again this week. Hopefully we can get her back soon though. So let's talk about what is going on this week, what we're going to be talking about on this live stream today. Starting off with Bitcoin's price, currently sitting at $27,400. There hasn't been too much happening over the last week or so. Today we're gonna kind of dive in a little bit on what I'm watching right now as far as crypto and prices. We're gonna do kind of an analysis on everything going on, what I'm currently watching, what trades I'm currently looking at, watching what setups I'm currently looking at, what my targets are, what I think might happen. We're gonna go over some news, and we're gonna go over the economic calendar, of course. This week is kind of a big week. We have a big event this week on Thursday. So we have something tomorrow. We have something even bigger Thursday. So we'll get into that. And then we'll end it, of course, with a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions about anything that we cover in today's video, in today's live stream, make sure to drop it in the comments. And we'll answer it at the end of this of the live stream. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, right? Starting off with the Bitcoin's price, currently sitting at $27,400. Kind of been sitting here for a little bit now, right? Since we broke in here on Sunday, October 1st. We've kind of been consolidating in this range here. And like we spoke about last week, probably, there's a big resistance here. Let me switch my chart out here. There's a big resistance here at $28,000 that we have not been able to break through yet. So I'll dive a little bit deeper into that in the analysis. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the market and see how it's been doing over the last 7 days. We can see that over the last week, Bitcoin is dead flat right now. Hasn't gone up, hasn't gone down, just kind of sitting in the same spot. Ethereum over the last 7 days is down 5%. We have BNB down 3%, XRP down 2.5% after its run up. So it's back to the 50-cent area, which is an interesting area for me. If you're looking for some trades there with XRP. We have Solana down 8.8%. That was a big mover the previous week, right? Cardano down 5.5%, Doge down 4.5%, Tron down 1.2%, Polygon down 8%, Polkadot down 6%, Litecoin down 4%. So basically we have a retrace here of the big move that we got at the beginning of the month, right? Kind of everything's kind of pulled back a bit and retraced back to where everything started. So let's take a look at the top 100 top gainers and top losers over the last 7 days. At top gainers, we have the Trust Wallet at number 1, up 24%. Tokenized Exchange up 11.1%. Clayton up 5.5%. Monero up 5%. That's an OG right there. And Render up 4.3%. And also Avalanche up 3.9%. So on top losers, we have Radex down 24%. I feel like Radex it is always on this list, whether it's a top gainer or top loser, but it's always on the list. Either up a lot or down a lot. It's never out of it though. We have Thorchain down 17.7%, Gala down 15.6%, Caspa down 11.8%, ApeCoin down 11.7%. So definitely a interesting week going on here. pretty slow overall. Let's dive into the economic calendars, and this is where things get a little bit spicy for this week. On the economic calendars, tomorrow we have the FOMC minutes. So what exactly is that? Basically a report of their last meeting, right? So they had a meeting last month where they decided to not raise interest rate hikes, not lower them, but just to pause them for the month. And then, so basically this is a summary of what happened during that meeting, right? What made them come to that decision. So we're gonna get that tomorrow. The reason that could bring some volatility is because it could give some hints on potentially where things could be going next and what they might decide for their next meeting. So the next meeting is on the 1st of November. Right now, the market is anticipating another pause, but this will give us more insight on if that might be the case or if maybe they're leaning towards another rate hike, which if that were the case, then you can expect prices to potentially drop down lower. So it's definitely something to look out for. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, October 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then on Thursday, this is when we have the big day, right? The big day of the week, which is the inflation rate. All right, so we're getting inflation rates, the report basically from last month. And right now, consensus is at 4.1%, right? Last month, it came in at 4.3%. This month, consensus sits at 4.1%. So it's expecting for inflation to go lower. Now, this is definitely going to bring volatility into the markets. One thing that we need to be aware of is where that report comes, right? So consensus is basically what everyone is expecting and what the market is expecting, right? So if it comes out at consensus, there might be a little bit of movement, but I don't expect too much movement. Now, if it comes out higher than consensus, we could see some volatility where the prices could drop. If it comes out lower than consensus, then we could see the same thing, but to the upside where prices could go up. If you guys remember back in the beginning of the year, during the week of the inflation reports, Bitcoin was pretty much taking off. It was an igniter for Bitcoin's price. As inflation dropped, Bitcoin's price would go up. So it's always something interesting to keep in mind and to watch for here this week to see how price reacts once this comes out. This once again is on Thursday, October 12th. At 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So other than that, on Friday, nothing too important. Looking forward to next week. Again, nothing super important. The next main thing which would impact markets would definitely be the Fed interest rate decision, and that's not until November 1st. So we still have a few weeks before we can start looking into that. So talking about the Fed interest rate decision, let's take a look at where we're at as far as the target rate probabilities for that meeting that's going to happen on the 1st of November. And right now, as you can see, 88.3%, there's an 88.3% probability that interest rates will stay the same. And there's an 11.7% chance that they would go up. So there's pretty much no chance of it dropping as of November, right? So we're not seeing any drops in interest rates this year. However, when we go towards, when we start looking towards, let's see, I think we looked at it last week. May and June, we start seeing the market is thinking that there is a drop in interest rates. So that's definitely going to be an interesting time, and that's going to align with the Bitcoin halving event as well. So that's why a lot of people, including myself, are thinking, 2024 is definitely going to be a good time for the market where we could potentially see Bitcoin's price really take off. So now that we've covered, the overall market, where prices are, and what we're looking for this week in the economic calendar, let's go ahead and jump into some of the headline news over the last few days that we've been watching here. So the first thing is, last week began the trial for SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, and basically they're saying what we already know, that the empire was built on lies, and they've pretty much been going at him and saying that the U.S. government said that his crypto empire was a house of cards built on a lie in the opening trial statements. So they said he had wealth, he had power, he had influence, but all of it was built on lies. So that was pretty much the opening statement there. Things got rolling. Then they had an ex-FTX developer who disclosed $8 billion discrepancy during the trial. And let me see, he went on to say, he recounted the event that led to his resignation, because he was a former, let me see here. He was a witness. He says he resigned from FTX after finding out Alameda Research used stolen customer funds to repay loans. So he was a former FTX developer who revealed a software bug that had a profound impact, basically. So that is definitely pretty crazy. And I mean, I think a lot of it is stuff that we pretty much thought that was happening and knew. But I think there's going to be a lot of surprises that develop during this trial as well. And I think he's definitely, if he does not get any jail time, then they're definitely somehow paying off the courts, because there's no way that this guy does not get jail time. I refuse to believe that. Moving on, in other news, we have Fidelity, who labels Bitcoin the most secure and decentralized crypto. So $4.5 trillion asset manager Fidelity says that Bitcoin is the most secure, decentralized, and sound digital money compared to any other digital asset. Of course, these are things that we've been preaching about for the last few years. We're just glad that others are starting to catch up. The report read that Bitcoin is fundamentally different from any other digital asset. No other digital asset is likely to improve upon Bitcoin as a monetary good, because Bitcoin is the most secure, decentralized, sound digital money, and any improvement will potentially face trade-offs. So, yeah, that's definitely what we've been kind of talking about here. I know since I've gotten into crypto back in 2016, and started kind of putting this info out there in 2017. So we've been talking about these things for a long time, for about 7 years now. We're glad that others are finally catching up, right? So let's go ahead and dive into the analysis. That's pretty much, as far as news, that's pretty much all I got there. There's not too much going on as far as headline news. Let's go ahead and dive into the market analysis here and take a look at what's going on currently, where things are at, what I'm watching, how I'm playing it this week, and some potential trade setups that we could be taking here. So let's go ahead and turn to the monitor here, and let's take a look here. Now, the first thing that we're watching, let's start off here on the weekly time frame. This is always where I like to start. I like to start on the weekly, except when we have a new month. Then that's when I take a look at the monthly time frame. But other than that, you really don't need to look at the monthly time frame that often. Just every new month, it's good to look at it to kind of see from a top view, right, where things are. So let's go ahead and take a look here on the weekly, and I'm gonna go over an analysis that I did a couple days ago for the Discord group here that we can, I do a breakdown every Monday basically with my group, where I do a top-down analysis. I look at everything from the economic calendar, the DXY, then we look at, then we do a top-down analysis on Bitcoin from monthly, weekly, and daily, and then we build our trading plan for the week using that market report, market analysis on Monday. So that's usually how we break it down. So let's go ahead and kind of take a look here at it. I'll just kind of be reading it here to you guys. So and showing you on the chart. So let's start off with the DXY actually here. And the reason that we like to look at the DXY is this is a dollar currency index. And it's because, remember, that Bitcoin trades directly against the DXY, right? So it definitely correlates, and it definitely matters what the dollar does, because when it goes up like this, you can see that this is a weekly chart. For 11 weeks in a row, the DXY went up. During this period of time when the DXY went up, Bitcoin's price dropped over 12%. So now you see why this matters, right? Now, the reason it's important that we look at the DXY here is because we've hit a key area here, a key resistance here that's played, it's played as resistance, it's played as support multiple times over if you look back on its history, right? So right now what we're watching is we had the support here that we bounced off several times. Then we had a deviation lower, right? And then Bitcoin's price moved up. And then what happened, let's look at the resistance side, right, that we're currently at right now. It was support, then we broke through it, then we had resistance, and now we're kind of breaking above that resistance. However, this is similar to what happened here, right? A deviation. This could be a deviation here that we're seeing to the upside to kind of trap that liquidity up there. And we could potentially see the DXY revisit, over the next few months, revisit this area down here. It doesn't need to go all the way back down here, but it could, retrace a bit here, pull back a bit here. So that's why we're watching that. And then on top of that, look at this candle right here specifically. What is that candle? That is a bearish pin bar. So that's a bearish pin bar is a bearish signal, especially when it happens at a resistance level. So not alone, a bearish pin bar alone doesn't have that much weight, but a bearish pin bar at resistance can carry a lot of weight, because that is a bearish reversal signal, and it's saying that basically sellers are taking over and the buyers have run out of steam, right? And if we look at the current candle here, it's looking very, very similar. It's another bearish pin bar. So this is a new candle that just opened up, but those are key things that we're watching here. So moving on to Bitcoin. Let's pull up, let me see. Let's pull this one up here on the weekly. So here on the weekly, let me remove this. We can kind of get an idea of what's going on here. We spoke about previously, we had this double top type of pattern, which is a bearish reversal pattern. When we got this double top pattern, when we were up here, we spoke about if we dropped, we probably dropped to about $23,000, because that was a double top pattern target. And indeed, we saw this candle happen here. Now, we didn't go to $23,000, which was the target that that we were looking at, but we went as low as $24,000 right here. So now what we're looking at here is a potential double bottom pattern. And with the double bottom pattern, that's gonna give us a potential target of about $36,000. So so that's currently on the larger time frames. That's currently what we're watching for here. That potential double bottom pattern breakout, and the breakout for the neckline here is on at about $28,000. So which is exactly where we're stuck at right now. So if we do get that breakout above $28,000, there's a potential here for a move up to about $36,000. Now, this is not meaning it's going to move directly to $36,000 as soon as we break above it, because this is a weekly time frame, and you can see from the time that we saw the double top to the time that we reached our target, it took what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So now we're not saying that in 5 weeks this is going to happen, but this is something that we can potentially see in Q4, which is the quarter that we just entered, over October, November, December. So something that we're watching here, potentially a potential play for the end of the year, right? So let's see what else we got here. Again, we're still stuck below $28,000. I think that's a key level here that we need to watch for and that we need to pay attention for. Last week's candle, it was a doji candle. So that's kind of an indecisive candle, right? We need a weekly candle to close above $28,000 before we can say that we have flipped that resistance into support. So until then, we can expect price to continue getting rejected at that level. So even if we continue to go above it, if we don't get a weekly candle to close here, we're probably going to continue to get rejected there. Support levels currently right now are going to be $27,000. You can see here about $27,300. Then we also have, of course, $26,000. That's played as a big support here, and of course $25,000 has been the big bottom here during this time period here. So of course, as far as chart patterns, we already spoke about the potential double bottom here with a target of $36,000. Liquidity levels. So let's take a look at liquidity levels here. I'm gonna pull up the high block liquidity chart here, the heat map here, so we can take a look. Let's start off on the 12-hour. So this is the most immediate that you're gonna see, right? And we're going to just kind of look at this area here to give us an idea of what it is that's going on, where the liquidity for Bitcoin's price is right now, which could potentially lead us to give us a target or give us an idea of where those next moves could be to. So right now, you can see that there's two main levels of liquidity here. We have this bright yellow spot down here. This is sitting at $27,250. And we have this up here sitting at about $27,800. So it's basically a $600 level. And that's, if we look here, that's basically where Bitcoin's price has been trading, right? We've been kind of trading in that range right there. So we're thinking that price is probably going to touch both of these levels, right? We could potentially drop down lower here to that $27,000 level before continuing up, or if we see the price move up first, then this is the play that I've been doing lately, and this is probably my favorite play right now. But at $28,000, especially if we don't hit this liquidity level down here, and we hit the one on the top, then up here at this liquidity level, I'm gonna be looking to open short positions here. So that's something that I'm watching, especially as we go into Thursday, when we expect some volatility during the inflation report. If I see a move up here for any reason, I'm gonna be looking to potentially open some short positions up there as close to $28,000 as possible. If we see a move lower, then I'll probably hold off and see how price plays out. I still feel like that $27,000 area is, at least 27,250 is not a place that I'm opening trades, because there is some liquidity at lower levels that we're gonna look at now. So we're kind of really zoomed in here, looking at the 12-hour heat map. Let's take a step back, look at the 7-day map here. Now in the 7-day, we can see this is of course a longer time frame, but we can see there's a lot. The majority of the liquidity is to the downside, right? That's where the bright yellow spots are. So, and that is sitting pretty much right at 26,000, from 26,900 to $27,000. When you go up, yes, there's a little bit of liquidity here, but it's not as much as the liquidity to the downside right now, that 26,900 level. So if I'm looking for long positions, I'm looking for long positions in this liquidity area right here. So that's going to be around that $27,000 area. So if price drops down to $27,000 and wipes that liquidity level, that's then a spot that I'm interested in opening some long positions for a move back up with a target at the liquidity levels up here at the $28,000 area. So that's a play that I'm looking at as well. So, and that's probably we're gonna see that play out this week, when probably leading up to the inflation report, or when the inflation report comes out and Bitcoin makes a move. So we're watching for which way that move happens. If it's to the downside and it takes out that liquidity pull down here that we're watching, and it starts to bounce back up there at 27,000, I'm interested in opening a long position there if that happens. Or if price goes up instead, retest that $28,000 level, takes out the little liquidity that we have there, we saw in the previous time frame, then I'm interested to take a short position. So that's pretty much how I'll be playing it this week, depending what happens. And if we go back a little bit further, this is the monthly heat map here, liquidity heat map. Here we can see that the majority of the liquidity right now is to the downside, and that's sitting in that $25,000 range. Now, some liquidity is starting to build up here at that top $28,000 range, which is just above the highs here that we set up recently. But yeah, and you can see here, guys, if we look at if we look back, we can see that usually price goes to where the liquidity is. So when we were over here, you can see that this was a bright yellow spot. Price went, took that liquidity, and then after we took that liquidity, you can see that the liquidity built up to the upside. What did Bitcoin's price do? Went to the upside, took out that liquidity. Now it's just kind of hanging out here. And guess what? Now the liquidity is building to the downside. So are we going to have one last move to the downside to take that liquidity out? That is a possibility, and that is something to watch for and keep in mind. Now, not saying that that's exactly what's going to happen, but it is a possible scenario. So we always like to kind of weigh out all the scenarios to try to see what the best play is at that point. If price were to drop down to those levels at 26,000 and 25,000, I'm happy to open long positions at those areas there. So definitely something that we're looking for there. I think that's pretty much it. I think we pretty much covered everything we wanted to talk about, and did the analysis and what I'm looking for this week and how I'm going to be playing it. Taking a look here at This is our trade room trades. So I basically log every trade that we take in the trade room, in the Discord trade room. You can see that in September, we had a pretty good month overall. Let me see, it's these here. So September, we won every single trade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we only took 6 trades. Again, not a lot of trades because the market hasn't really been moving a lot. So when the market's not moving, it's hard to take trades, right? We don't want to just randomly jump into trades. But you know, every trade that we took, we won here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we went 6 for 6 in September. And you can see our entries here. You can see the dates here. So on the 1st of September, we entered at 25,500. Took profit at 26,000. Then on the 6th, 5 days later, same entry, 25,500. Again, just small moves, right? Took profit at 26,000. Then again, 5 days later, on the 11th, we entered at 25,300, and this time we wrote it. This one was a big one. We wrote it all the way to 26,500. So that was a big trade here for $474 profit. Hit all. It was a 47% profit trade with 10x leverage. Then on the 20th, we took a short position at 27,550, all the way down to 26,000 for $562 profit. 56% profit with 10x leverage. And on the 25th, 5 days later, again, took a long, once again, switched over to a long, 26,200 up to 26,750. And then another long on the 27th at 26,200 to 27,000. So this month we started off a little slow. We took a loss here. That was our first loss in 2 months. And the crazy part was that on this trade, after I signaled the trade and we took the trade, I did my Monday market report, a deep analysis on the market, and I came to realize that, you know, even though it was a good setup, it was a setup that I like to take, it wasn't a good spot for it after doing the report. So what we should have done here was just close the trade at break even and flipped our trade into a short, and we would have won that. Because I even said it in the Discord, but you know, we kept it open. We're like, you know what, let's just see what happens. And of course, it ended up being a loss. That was a great lesson though. And then after that, at 28,000, the next 2 times we stuck with our reports. We shorted at that $28,000 level. We won both of those trades for small profits. So so far this month, 2 for 1, 2 wins, 1 loss. So I guess 2 for 3. If we look at the summary, we can see that we've taken a total of 76 trades here, and this is in 2023, with a total profit loss of $10,339. This is based on a starting capital of $10,000. I just use that to keep it as simple as possible. The total profit loss, we're up 103.4% on the year, 50 winning trades, 23 losing trades, and we have a win rate of 65.79%. Our average win is around $300, average loss is around $200, so which gives us a risk reward of about 1.426. So we've definitely had a pretty good year. Even though it's been a really slow year, we've had a decent year overall. On average, we're hitting our first take profit around 68% of the time. We hit 2 of our take profits at almost 50% of the time. And then our third one, we hit it only 30% of the time. But that third one is usually a 1 to 3 risk reward. So we're getting a really good risk reward when we do hit that TP3. And overall, we're up over 100% on the year. So very excited for that. Very happy about that. I don't know why here it says we've taken 76 trades. Here we're at 73. So I'm going to have to take a look at that to see why that's happening. But I think because of these here. If I take these off, let's see. Let's take that off. Didn't seem to do anything. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see why that's showing that. But overall, we're able to break over that 100% barrier, and we've had a pretty good year. So if you guys are interested in taking any of this trades and kind of following, oh, here we go, I fixed it, and following the trades that we're setting up here, every single day in our trade room, you can check out the Discord link is in the description below of this live stream of this video. If not, you could just tune into these live streams where I give these breakdowns, and I give you guys my plan on how it is that I'm playing it. Now, the thing is that over the course of the week, plans change and you have to reevaluate, and things change, depending what's going on in the market. So that's what we do in the Discord. We kind of talk it out, and I help out with whatever questions you might have, whatever setups and stuff like that. And I show basically the exact trades that I'm taking, so in the exact time. So that's pretty much it, guys. I appreciate you guys. Let me see. I'm gonna take a look to see. Usually we do a Q&A here at the end of this. Let me see if we have any questions here. So let me pull up. I asked on Instagram as well. Somebody asked, is it still good to invest in Bitcoin right now? Once again, I still think that we're at the bottom of where Bitcoin's price is probably going to be in the next 2 years, right? I think from here, even though we could pull back to there is a scenario where we pull back to like $23,000. I think worst case scenario, $20,000, even though I don't think that will go down to $20,000. It is a scenario. But I think the best thing you could do right now is be buying weekly right now. At least put a little bit of money into it every single week, dollar cost average. And in the next year or two, that's gonna be up, because Bitcoin's price is definitely gonna be going up over the next 2 years, in my opinion. Let's see, any other questions? Somebody asked, does Bitcoin drop more because of war? And that's a great question. So I only have history that I remember from while I've been in Bitcoin, of the Ukraine war, right, when that happened. And we saw that during the Ukraine war, Bitcoin's price did drop. And the reason why is usually war means uncertainty, right? It brings uncertainty into people's lives, especially, of course, people that are living in the areas of war. So when things like that happen, when there's uncertainty, people tend to want to have cash, right? So they tend to want to have cash, because in the worst case scenario, right, what good is it going to be having your money invested into the stock market or into crypto or whatever it is, if it ends up being no good because of a war, right? In a war, you can't pay if everything were to go down because of a war. There's no electricity or whatever. Your investments are no good, right? You need cold hard cash. So that's why during wars there's an uncertainty. People like to go to cash and gold, basically. So yeah, definitely during wars, there always is potential for not only Bitcoin but overall all markets for prices to drop. And then the last question that I have here is, do you think crypto will crash one last time before halving? Now, I wouldn't say that it would crash per se, but a pullback is definitely in the cards. We just looked at the liquidity levels right now, and we saw that there's a lot of liquidity to the downside, sitting at $26,000, $25,000. So there is a potential for Bitcoin's price to drop back down to those levels. A pullback, I wouldn't call it a crash per se, right? I think a crash would be more if Bitcoin's price dropped from where we are right now to like 20,000 or below, right? I don't think that happens. There is a low probability of it happening, so that means that it could still happen, but I'm not thinking that's going to happen. I'm thinking a pullback, we could potentially see, you know, $25,000 again. And I think that's it, guys. That's all the questions that I have here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys missed any of it, you guys can just watch the replay, or I'll be putting it up. I'll be putting it up on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast tomorrow. So that's it for us, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next one next week. And as always, peace and love.